Okay, we've got the second last page of this unit review, I think. First question here is nice and simple. Determine the value of root 2.56. This is something that you'll just use your calculator to do. The square root of 2.56 is 1.6. If you don't get this same value in your calculator, this is a good thing to check out before you do an exam. It's going to be D. Next, which fraction is a perfect square, which means the tops and the bottoms are both perfect squares. So 49, that's 7 squared. 225, that's a perfect square, that's 15 squared. 7 isn't, 15 isn't, 60 isn't, 28 isn't, 225 is still 15 squared. So the only one that has top and bottom that are perfect squares is 2. So this is 7 over 15 squared, which is 7 times 7 over 15 times 15. All you got to do is check each of these, find the root. If you're finding the root of 28, you'll find that it's 5.29. That's not a whole number. That's not an integer, so it's not a good one. Next, for 19, which statement is false for this polynomial? It has coefficients 4 and 3. Coefficient here is 4. The coefficient here is -3. That's false. Let's check the rest, though. It has a constant of 10. Yes. It has a degree of 3. This is a 2, and that's a 1. That's a 1. So together, this 2 plus 1, yeah, that's a degree of 3. That's okay. And D, it has exponents of 2 and 1. There's a 2, and there's a 1, and there's a 1. Yeah, those are the exponents. Those are all true. The only one that was false was the first one. 20, find the missing term for this plus something is that. This is a subtraction problem, right? We take our sum. That's this one right here. And we subtract the one we know, which is going to go in there. So that's 4x squared minus 4 and 7x. I'm lining them up with the x's and the constants and the x squareds all together. 4 minus -4 is 8. That's okay. That's supposed to be 8. That's good. -1 minus 7 is going to be -8. And that's in the x column. So this should be here, -8x. And 2 minus 4 is -2 in the x squareds, and -2x squared, yeah, that's what they gave us too. So it should be -8x. So we know our difference here. We know one of our terms. We just need, or sorry, our sum here, and one of our terms we just need to subtract to find the missing piece. 21, the perimeter of an isosceles triangle is this. Find the length of the third side if the two equal sides measure that. I'm going to do this as a subtraction too. I know the perimeter is all of the sides together. And if I subtract one of the identical sides and another one of the identical sides, we'll see what we get. So -1 minus 1 minus another 1, that's -3. Right away, we know it should be C. I could stop here if this was a test. I wouldn't, though, because I wouldn't trust myself. -3 minus -2 minus -2 is -3 minus -2 should be -1, and minus another -2 should be +1. Okay, so that +1x, that still works. 5 minus 1 is 4, minus another 1 is 3, and 3x squared, which works out there too. I could have taken this one and multiplied it by 2 at the start, and I could have gotten 2x squared minus 4x plus 2 by multiplying all those bits. And I could have done one subtraction instead of 2. And I feel like that would have been a smarter move, because if I had that, I would have done less, I think, fumbling and second guessing myself. I would have just said, okay, -1 minus 2 is -3. -3 minus -4 is +1. 5 minus 2 is 3. I think I would have had an easier time doing it that way. 22, simplify this minus that. So we're looking for any like terms we can combine. First, in this big bracket here, we've got an m squared and an m. That's not like. But we've got our -11 and our +5. So if we add together -11 and 5, we get -6. So in that big bracket, where can I write that? Here, we've got 8m squared. We've got a 2m. What's that 2m there? And -11 and 5 get me -6. I'm just writing these in descending order because it's a nice habit to have. And if I'm subtracting this guy here, I'm subtracting 3m squared minus 7m plus 10. That's this one. Then I just do each one like terms only. So -6 minus 10 is -16. So already we think 22 should be C. But let's make sure. 2 minus -7 is going to be 9. And 8 minus 3 is going to be 5. So 5m squared plus 9m minus 16, 5m squared, 9m, 16. Yep, it's still C. So even though we're pretty sure just by looking at one term, it's always good to check them all because mistakes get made. Last on this page, simplify that minus that. We're first going to do this multiplication. We're next going to do that multiplication, and then we'll tidy up our like terms. So for the green part, we've got 2n times 3n squared. 2 times 3 is 6. N times n squared is n cubed. 2 times -5 is -10, and the n just comes along. In the blue part, we've got -4n squared times 7. -4 times 7 is -28. N squared times, there's no other n, so it's just n squared. And -4 times, if there's no number, it's a 1, right? -4 times 1 is -4. And n squared times n is n cubed. I'm going to look for like terms. Looks like there's some cubed terms that I can combine. So that one and that one go together. So 6n squared and -4, sorry, 6n cubed and -4n cubed. 6 minus 4 is 2n cubed. We think it should be A already because it's none of these ones. But let's double check. Let's keep going. We've got -28n squared, nothing to play with there, no like terms. And -10n, again, no like terms, no other n terms. So we check -28n squared, -10n. They also match up with A. It's got to be A. So these ones can be fast or they can be slow, more or less dependent on how many mistakes you make along the way. Okay, we got one more page left, I think. Coming up to the end.